record, share screen. Coming in here, I'm going to our home page, and again, as always, it's just a quickie review. You know, the classroom videos, there they are, and in a little bit, section 3.10 will be included. Okay. Was there any questions on the 3.1 test data? And I already have my 3.2 test data ready. So when you start submitting them, that's what I'll be using to grade them. And hopefully you have some good test data instead of, woohoo, it runs. It's got to be right because it's a computer. Now, you folks will get logic errors. The other thing on here, if your program doesn't run, I can't grade it. I don't, otherwise it looks like a bunch of marks on there to me. Okay. So sometimes less is more, you know, and again, I'm just going to keep re-emphasizing this as your programs get bigger and bigger. Get part of it working and then add to it, you know. And a couple of times you've been in great breakout groups, I've come in and said, okay, run it so far. Run it. Have you run it? You know, and start knocking out errors. Run it. Woo, everything looks good. Save it. You know, because then you can always at least upload that much and you'll get a better grade with something that's gradable than it's not. Okay, so my quote is sometimes less is more. The other thing is, you know, you guys have been doing a great job of getting assignments done before the deadline. Nobody has gotten squirrely on me yet and tried to email it and say, oh, it's 12:03. My computer's clock is wrong. And, you know, if you're waiting until that close to the end to get it in, that's a risk you're making. Okay. So finally, the last thing is decimal formatting. This is going to be section 3.10. We will be wrapping up chapter 3 today. The next 4 classes will be doing chapter 4, and we'll have a test after that on chapters 3 and 4. But for today, you should see this decimal formatting, and I want you to go and grab decimalformat.java and load it up. So today, your notes are going to be more or less a Java program, and I've given you quite a bit in it already.
Can I ask a question, Professor?
Absolutely.
So I remember last class we went over briefly like 3.8, and you were saying how like it's like an optional way to do like the if statements. Is
Yeah.
that something you would still include on the test or quiz?
No.
No. Okay. I'm just making sure. Thanks.
All right, I'll give you another 30 seconds for some of you to load up. As you all know, because I know you read assignment 3.2 already, the 3.2 has a display that's numerical, it's money. Okay, and when you declare or display dollars, you don't go $23 and 23.4691 because our world doesn't work that way. So there's times when we want to be formatting some things. We can format with the decimal point, which is probably what you'll do most of the time. There may be times you want to format something in a table. A lot of you will just use tab, and that works fine. There's other things to do, something called a field width specifier. But we're going to start today with taking a look at formatting for the console. Now, the console, once again, this box down at the bottom of your Java screen. That's like, and still in my opinion, for programmers. Okay, this is where you can be working on a program and you can be displaying things real quick for you to see. If you give this program to a user, they're not going to know what to do. So you need to use the GUIs to make it a little clearer and easier because they're not going to know how to load up Java and look at the console and do all that. So they're going to be looking at something in the screen. So the first thing we're going to look at, and like I said, you're not going to use it very much, is this formatting for something to display in the console. Okay. And when we do it, we're going to use something called a printf. So in my documentation, I made a little note, system.out.printf, format string, there's that word string again, followed by an argument list. So I'm going to start out by declaring a value double sales 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.6789. Now I'm going to do my system.out.printf. F stands for formatting. I'm going to start with this format string like you see up above, and then I'm going to follow it with an argument list. So let's see what that means. So if I look at my string here, our sales are %F. %F. That's what we're going to put in when we want to display a double. It's an access specifier. We're going to display a double. So when the time comes, oh, wait. I thought I could annotate. Yeah, I can. Woohoo. Here we go. I want to draw a line. Yeah, I do. When the time comes, this %F, waka, 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 is going to be telling me how to format sales. Well, right now, all it's saying is %F means, okay, I want to display a sales. So that sales, that variable right there can go right in there. Now, some of you are saying, well, why couldn't we just, our sales are space double quote, sales, plus double quote. Well, you could, but we're going to see in a minute how I can make this look a little nicer. Here's a second example. This time I have a format string, precision. This time I put % followed by 0.1. Then I have another one, % followed by 0.2. And finally, a third one, % followed by 0.3. So what happens is this first specifier is going to come over to my argument list and grab sales. And it's going to do this 0.1, which, drum roll, you already have run it. And you see that 0.1 is going, you see that point. Here we go. Here we go. Pow. You see that? Not yet. Still looking for the console to come up. Come on. There we go. You see the 0.1. Cancel. You see the 0.1 comes down here into my console and does the 0.7. Okay. So it took sales. That was in the first system.out print when we had. Our sales are for the day. Now, when I started that second system.out.printf, I said, hey, 0.1. That means go to 1 decimal place. And as you can see, it rounded up the 0.6789. 0.2 gave me the 0.68. 0.3 gave me 0.679. So I'm able to do, look at that. I still have my mustache on there. I'm able to do multiple things, but now I can format to 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places, whatever I want. All right, so.
And this method only works for the console
for the
viewer?
console, right. Now, system.out.printf, I'm going to do another one. This time I'm going to do something called field width. Okay, and I can do this with the other ones, but I'm going to do a field width, and this is now going to be the number before the decimal point that says put my sales in a field of size 10. Try that and see what it gives you when you run it. And again, there's more stuff in this program. We're going to get to it in a minute. I come down here and I see field width, and then I have a whole bunch of spaces before my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. I'm going to come back up here and edit this and put in a /n/n. I'm going to come up here, take advantage of /n's to make this a little more readable. So the first one, our sales are %F, just says print out that double. Oh, good question. What if I want to print out an integer num1? I'm going to give it a value, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I need a system.out.printf. Here is an integer. %. Do I want to put it in a field or not? What if I put it in a field of 2? And I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up there. Wonder if it's just going to print out the 4, 5. I don't know. We're going to find out in a minute. Some of you went through this section already. F was for double. What do we put in for an integer?
D.
A D? All right. Oh, now I'm going to put in some /n's. So this is on a line by itself. So there's my format string. Now my argument list, I need something to go where that %2D was. I'm going to put num1 and let it display. Let's see what happens. I'm excited. So in order to print out strings, I'm going to use the D. Did I hit run? There we go. Come down to my output. And it doesn't like num1. Why doesn't it like num1 all of a sudden?
Oh, you
that's
used
later.
the same variable name later on.
I see that. Let's make this num11. Good call. That's why we're supposed to declare all of our variables in the beginning, so we don't screw up. Well, I didn't screw up. You screwed up, Prof. It wasn't me. I know, it was me. All right, so this time when I run it, I see my, let's see my precision. You know, I said 1 decimal point, 2 decimal points, 3 decimals. Down here, field width, you know, it moved it over. Finally, here's my integer. And even though I put 2 up above, %2, it took what it needed. Well, let's get back up here. We kind of are limited with the console, but we'll try to make it look as pretty as possible. Okay.
So what did it output for the integer?
And let me run it
Yeah,
again.
what's %2D do?
Okay, so %2 says it's going to use at least a field width of 2. Well, since I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it overrode it and made a field width of 5. What if I put in 20? What will my output be? Here
Would
is
it
an
be
integer.
15 spaces and then
Yeah, it's
your
going to put
5.
a whole bunch of spaces in there. So I'm going to run it again. And if you look down in my console, down here, our sales are, and there was the original number, precision to my decimal places, field width, we talked about it. Oh, field width of 15. You know, it went crazy. All right, so that's in the console. And the reason I cover that is not that you're really going to use it much, but you can use it, not for assignments. But now we're going to take a look at 2 different ways to display decimals and so on, to do formatting in a J option pane. Okay, so the book used to cover both of these ways, but they don't anymore. They only cover this the way we were just talking about. Now, the other way to print to J option pane, first thing is I'm going to create this line number 43, decimal format, formatter equals new decimal format. So I can get something that looks like this. Oh, let me back up. I needed to finish up here. We did doubles. We did integers. What's my last data type that I missed?
String.
Yeah, string. STR equals, oh, have another drink. Hi, mom. Okay, system.out.printf. My favorite string is, what am I going to put? Percent. Anybody know what it is for string? Take a guess.
S.
S.
Percent
Good.
S.
Yep.
S.
Comma space, and I want to do my parameter of just a string. Operator, won't you put me on do? I'm going to do a quick run. And my favorite string is hi, mom. Okay. Any questions? Somebody has a question. Nobody has a question? Check this out.
So for doing strings, the useful part there is you wouldn't need to, like we've been doing, where it'll be like string literal plus outstra plus whatever else. You can do it by string format.
Right. And
So
the
it's just a
other,
little cleaner to read that way.
right. And the other thing is, inside of this, I could keep adding more stuff in my string literal. It could be integers, it could be doubles, and then follow all that with my parameter list. Check this out, Funk Soul Brothers. I'm going to come up to line 32 on my screen, and you see where I have the percent. What if I put a comma there? Hopefully it won't crash. I put a comma before my field width. Check it out. What did it do down here in the bottom? Here's my integer. 12, 345. It inserted a comma for me. So I probably should have been using them up here with some of these as well, because my number goes into the thousands. It's called a flag. Flag // the comma is called a flag here.
Does it say that?
What's that?
Like, I see the space in the output for the formatting.
Does it save it?
No, I mean, where does it say that I didn't see it do the
The
thing?
comma? Okay.
Yeah.
It's coming up. Are you playing along at home, typing all this stuff in? Or are you just hoping I save it and update it? So right here, my number, my integer, this is where the comma was. So where do we normally have commas in number systems? Every 3, right? So it knows to put it in.
Ability.
Yeah, what if I came back up and I made this, let me minimize my console. Let me go back up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, 9, or 8. You know, all of a sudden I got a really, really big number. Is it going to put in multiple commas? No. Why? Because that's too big of a number for an integer. All right. That's unrealistic anyhow. Let's try this. Let's try this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Will that work? Drum roll. Yes. Does it add commas? I'm down here at the bottom. It does add commas. So it added multiple ones if need be. Anthony, does that help? Say
I'm
yes.
doing a program submission.
Say yes, Professor, you're doing an excellent job today. Okay. Coming up next, all right? The book used to include this line 44, this way
that
of
does
for
help.
what?
But yes, that does help.
Okay, good. So when we're going to GUIs, which is really a little bit more important, there are 2 ways that you can format in your J option pane display. And the first one is what you see up here. Decimal format, formatter equals new decimal format. Now I see this bunch of pounds and zeros. Pounds we put in if needed, zeros are required, okay? And you see the little note. This will allow format to use 3 decimal places if it needs it, but we'll always have at least two. So there'll be at least two numbers displayed. So if I always want those two zeros, I'm going to put those in. Pounds are optional. You notice this is a way to get my comma in there as well. If I need to keep going, I could do more, but every three I could add a comma so that it would display a comma. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to ask the user for a number, convert that input string to num1, and then when I display it, I'm going back to the way we've been displaying things in J option pane, but I do this formatter.format in front of it so that it'll do formatter, which is up here. It'll do that version of it to display it.
But why do we use pound signs before it? I mean, wouldn't the 0.00 pound sign be
Okay.
sufficient?
So say one more time.
Why is 0.00 pound sign insufficient? Why do we need the other pound signs before it?
Before it,
To
because if
say that should be this decimal format.
if I don't have those, it won't give me my comma. So if I
I'll
take
give
this
you a
out,
comma.
if I take this out, pow, 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 and I run it,
It wouldn't give a comma. Understood.
it's not going to give me a comma. Yeah,
So that's the way to do flags in J option pane.
you got it. So if I get ready and now I'm in my
So
J
it's all
option,
one number, not two separate things.
right? 1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4, 5.3456.7. Okay, what's it going to display exactly?
We can't see your input window.
Okay, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.34567.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, comma 3, 4, 5.
We took the comma out,
3,
Anthony.
4, 6.
Anthony, you wanted the comma out, so we took it out. So that's
1, 2, 3,
gone.
4, 5. Point
Yeah. So I
3,
have
4, 6.
0.34567, and when I display it, it does 0.346. So once again, it rounds up. It saw that it needed that third decimal place, so it took it. All right, so I'm going back because now it's goofed up. I'm going to put pound, comma. Here we go. Pound, comma.
If you're
pound.
displaying a number less than 1,000, would it still add in spaces and commas before?
No, you
Okay.
won't see that comma before. It'll put blanks in because we used the pound sign. If we put zeros in, it would display something. Yes. So 0 says display, pound sign says use if needed. Okay, so that's the decimal format class. That's an older way that the book used to put in, but this one is nice because it sort of follows what we've been doing. I mean, I could come in here now and go plus, here is another number, and I could use plus and use my formatter again, because that's what I called it up in 43, formatter.format, which is something I just have to put, and then I could put in my num11 from up above. So the actual output line looks like what we've been doing before. It's not the string followed by the parameter list. So that's one option. The other one is to tie in sort of what we just did up above, and that's to use string.format. We used printf. Now it's called string.format. And again, you see I have my string followed by my parameter list. Num1 is going to go in there. Looks like it's going to get formatted to 2 decimal places, a comma if needed. So you have your option. The second option is a lot like we talked about in the beginning. That's something I might do in the console. This first option is what we have kind of been doing up to this point, but now I have to, it's called instantiate an object called formatter, and wherever I use formatter, it's going to use that format.
Professor,
Yep.
I'm just confused. Like, what do the pound signs do exactly?
Okay, so if I come up here in line 44 and I gave you the number 123, what would the output be? So I'm going to make some notes down here so you can see. If I said 123, what would the output be? Anybody?
You 123.000.
Nope, because it doesn't need that third decimal place, so it's not going to use it. It's definitely required. If I put in 0.2456, what would my output be?
Would it be 0.2456?
It would in fact be 0.246. Because I'm saying I only want 3 decimal places, and I only want that third one if needed. In this case, it's needed, and it's don't look 46. Sorry, 0.246, and it's going to round up. What if I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? What's it going to display?
123, 456.00.
You got it. You got it. So Dorian, wherever there's a 0 will always be a number displayed. Where
Right.
there's a pound, it's a pound if needed. And the reason we do it up top is to get those commas. Let's try one more. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One, 2, 3, 4, comma, 5, 6, 7.00.
So if you're formatting for very large numbers, you would
Yep.
need to go in and specify precisely where you want how many. Okay, how
Yep.
many flags you want.
Dorian,
But
Yeah.
the other method that we covered, the second method on this,
yep,
if you do the comma, it'll automatically add in however many flags it needs.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. So you just have to pick which one you like better. You know, I found over time that this one becomes more popular, the first one. And then when I saw they took it out of the edition of the book, I'm like, really? Because students tended to like this one better, because then I can use formatter.format anywhere I want in the program. You know, if I have more output, I keep using formatter.format. It's one of those, once I set it up, I just need that phrase in front of what I'm displaying. Dorian, thanks for asking that question, because I think people needed to see some examples to get it
Sure.
straight in their head.
Mhm.
So accidentally, good question. All right,
Predict what you're going to say next.
what am I going to say next?
I'm going to put you into groups.
And do what?
I don't know.
I stopped the share. Stop the share. We're done with the recording. I'll tell you what I'm putting you in your groups because I want you to go back to your quadratic program. Remember the quadratic one? I want to make sure your output is handling imaginary numbers, because now that we know how to do if statements, we can take care of that discriminant and display if it's imaginary, you know, and what the imaginary number is. It'd be great if I could see your roots are 2 plus 3i and 2 minus 3i kind of deal. And I want all of this done in GUIs. Mathematically, 3 decimal places. Financially, 2 decimal places. Well, this isn't finance, so I want you to round it to 3 decimal places. Pick one of those 2 methods we have.